All right, guys, back. Southeastern 16 with Max Barr. SEC basketball reaction. What do you know? It's a Tuesday night in the SEC, and of course, what a slate we said, Max. We said this was going to be a very fun starting point. We still got Alabama, Texas, Georgia A&M to go.
Oh, yeah.
But, man, anytime you get Kentucky, Tennessee on the board, you get Auburn, tricky spot at Vanderbilt, the Gators on the road at Mississippi State. What a wild start to the Tuesday slate, and what a great start here with Chad. $10 super chat checking in to say go Big Blue, Chad says. Of course, Bob checking in for the thank you. The sweep this year on the Kiss of Death, yours truly, with Kentucky, Tennessee. How about that, Max? We said it. Get somebody. We said Tennessee had been good against the Southeastern 16 Kiss of Death, but not tonight and not against the Cats this season. As Kentucky, Max, gets a huge win. Of course, the big story coming out of this is going to be the Lamont Butler injury. We mentioned Robinson wasn't playing, and then Butler seems to re-injure the shoulder there down the stretch. Game kind of changed a little bit after that. You notice the momentum swapped a little bit. What are you laughing at?
Someone changed their entire name to Summit Cola.
Oh, yeah. How about that? That's nice. Summit Cola.
I got you right here.
I like it. But, Max, we were talking about this before. Bet the bad news is undefeated, I think. Absolutely undefeated. And I told you, I fully went Kentucky money line after we all chipped in on the Southeastern 16 Kiss of Death. The degree of probability went up. So I went Kentucky money line. I was like, I know what I'm doing here. But man, this is wild. Speaking of what's wild, how about this? Quinn's here. This is how you know Quinn's here. $99.99 on the super chat. $100 super chat to get things started in the first 2 minutes here. Could be one of those evenings here. Quinn,
Quinn
saying the control most of the game. WDE. Vandy ain't got nothing on us. Quinn, stepping up.
Nice, Quinn.
All right, Max.
Appreciate it.
Quinn, we're going to get to the Tigers here shortly. Let's talk about big win for Kentucky, 75-64 in Rupp.
The Kiss of Death, it has its powers, but there's a new phenomenon that has been created this season. It's gaining a lot of steam, and that's let's drop another one of our best players, and then we'll win.
What is going on?
I have never seen anything like this. You've got Trent Noah and Travis Perry combining for 5 of 7 from 3. Just getting whatever they want. Getting whatever they want against the number 1 defense in the nation. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The broadcast comes in, the sideline reporter, Mark Pope, is drawing up stuff for Noah. They want to look for Noah. We didn't catch that in the preview. We didn't.
No, we didn't.
Joking aside, though, in all seriousness, very, very, very concerned for Lamont Butler. I hope he's all right. I hope it was just that elbow bang, because the broadcast said that it might just been something with his elbow. I'm hoping it didn't re-aggravate the shoulder, because you saw right after the first few minutes. The next 4, 5, 6 possessions was all Tennessee, and it was like, oh my gosh, that just happened like that. Oh no, here we go. This isn't looking good. And then they fight back. I think it was Ansley. That fought back and had the kind of like the old Euro into Lanier to get the and one. And it was always someone. It was an Ansley 3. It was an Amari Williams and 1. Then it was a Kobe Brea step back 3. Then it was Travis Perry. It was just one at a time. They took their turn, stepped up. Yet again, the Cats get another huge win.
Wild, huh? Yeah, man, it's just like, and I think that was the thing. Like, again, too, with the Butler thing, they're not going to take any chances on that. Like, no matter, and again, we don't know the extent of it. I'm sure Pope will comment soon. We'll probably know something by the end of the stream, I would guess, based on press conference quotes and all that. But I mean, they're not going to take a chance, right? We knew that.
Right.
No matter what the injury was, whether he bumped it, whether it just, something else happened, like they're not going to. And I think it was pretty clear that there's no way he was coming back in the game. But man, it is a phenomenon. You said it. Like I have never seen a year like this where you see teams just drop players and then they just rally. But I think it's. I tweeted this out a minute ago. I'm like, this has been the main theme all season, especially for some of these top teams in the SEC. Is anytime you get a player down, all these guys rally, somebody else steps up, you have resilient teams. And that's just, that's how these teams have been able to get these big wins like this, whether it's Kentucky. We talked about Tennessee in that spot. Florida, we're going to talk about in a little bit. Auburn without Broom, right? They go get a couple gritty wins. So, yeah, I mean, even Alabama, right? They've been missing their star freshman for, it's just like, I mean, these are just, it's one of those weird things where you have, and I think that goes to, that's also just the quality of a good team, but it's also good coaching, I think, to be able to put different guys in other spots to where they can step up and make big plays. And so, it's wild to kind of look at a game like this and see the way, without Jackson Robinson, who we said was such a crucial part of the first win at Tennessee, and then, and I think we mentioned this too, was like looking at the numbers. Max, Kentucky shot the exact same number from three as they did in the first game. Did they not? 12 of 24, isn't that what they shot in the first game? I think that's right, unless I'm thinking of another game.
On or it was
had to be close, right?
One or two off, yeah.
Let me see if I can find it because I'm curious. But see what you can find in the chat while I look at that number. But I think it was the exact same.
Well, there was one chat that I saw. It was about Lanier, but it made me think of just that the individual matchup there between Lanier and Brea, the two kind of microwave heat check guys for each team. Brea won that matchup by far. That was not a good Lanier game. 0 of 7 from 3. 3 of 18 as a team from 3. Tennessee does not like playing the Cats this year, Blake. They do not like playing the Cats.
All right, this is legitimately one of the wildest stats I've ever seen.
What do you got?
They did go exactly 12 of 24. So keep this in mind, everyone, okay? Kentucky, this season in the regular season, went 24 of 48 from 3 against Tennessee, who is the number 2 3-point defense in the country and allowing 27.5%. It's incredible. Like, that is just nuts, percentage-wise, to think about that. Nuts.
That's 2 times in the past 3 years now that Kentucky has swept Tennessee, right? Right? Did I just say that wrong? Or no? Because 2020...
I don't remember beyond yesterday, so I think you're right.
2022-2023 season, they swept them. Last year, it was Mississippi State that swept Tennessee, and then this year again. Yeah, because I was looking for like a trend of like, maybe Tennessee just with their play style so set in stone, once a year they just run into a team that is just a bad matchup. And I was looking for that in the preview. So now that's 3 years in a row now. Tennessee's ran into a team that's won the home and away.
That's wild, isn't it? See if we can find in the chat real quick, Max. I'm going to pull up a couple of things here and try to get the internet a little steady. It's kind of rocking back and forth a little bit here.
Yeah, well, so you just gave the numbers on Kentucky. Tennessee here from Iron Kentucky combined 14 of 63 in both losses. So that is not ideal. That is not ideal for the Vols offense there. I will say I thought Milicic still had a good game. I thought Milicic actually kept him in it. He had some quick release, like top of the key threes that I was like, whoa. Yeah, Jay Billis is yelling at him over the broadcast to keep shooting it. I'm like, these are pretty deep contested threes for Milicic. He was hitting them though. He just didn't have any help. Where Kentucky had that help off the bench, all that pop off the bench. Dubar was in for, I think, one little stint. I think he had a minute or two. And Gainey goes 0 for 4. They didn't get a 3 off the bench. So there's the difference in the game right there.
Yeah. Man, I tell you, there were just so many things from this game you could certainly look at, and that's what we said too. And I almost kind of laugh, but I'm like, maybe the Arkansas game. We always say Kentucky just thrives in the big games, right? Maybe like Arkansas just didn't have enough wins. Maybe that's what it came down to. It was a big game, but it was like, you know what? Come on, we need a top 5 team in here. We don't need this. But in all seriousness, I mean, I think it just shows you, Max, and we've said it. That's why Kentucky defending too. I think that's something where I think Jay Billis was talking about it. Like they had some stretches of defense there where you're like, okay, like all right, if Kentucky's going to defend like that, they're going to beat some teams that, and that's what we say. Like we talked about kind of the defensive inconsistency, but if they have some of those stretches, yeah, like they're going to be hard to beat. It's just, yeah. So
playing inspired ball. They're playing inspired ball. Maybe that's just what it takes. And the grueling, the long season with all these players are hearing is how they got to take it game by game because every game is a game that you could drop and you can't overlook anybody. And a player, one of your brothers you practice with every day for the last how many months goes down, that fires you up. That gets you going. So
yeah.
I know it's, not, there's no science to the injury theory here, but this is ridiculous what we're seeing at this point.
All right, Max, we got to get caught up on super chats here. We're a bit behind, so I'm going to see if we can.
Oh, jeez.
We're way behind on these, so let me see what we can catch up on with these. All right. Did we get to Sam's earlier? I don't think we did.
No.
$4.99. Can't wait till I don't have to watch 5, 6 point guard 15. Can't wait till come on, Sam. He's saying a first round exit for his Vols. He wants a real coach like Will Wade. So there you go. That's what Sam wants. He said. All right.
He moved on from Bucky.
He's moved on from Bucky. I'm not sure why. Zach going to check in. We'll get to Auburn in a second. $2 super chat. Auburn wins in the cursed gym. Let's go. Zach continuing the streak there on that. We're going to talk about the Tommy Haugh near triple-double. Don't worry.
Yep.
Max and I have had that circled for an hour here. We'll be ready for that. By the way, I did start this comment. I think, look, sometimes it's this simple, as Kimmy says. All you need, Max, all heart, all balls. That's what Kentucky did there in that game. Sometimes that's what it comes down to. It'd be nice for a Manscaped ad read right now. We don't have that. So, Chad, $1 super chat. We appreciate you, Chad. Did we bring up this from Michael earlier? Don't know what Tennessee did to Almanor, but he likes playing against him. He's the Bryson Godine to Texas A&M. The Ansley Almanor to Tennessee is what this is.
Loves him.
Yeah. Yeah. So, wild. All right, let's see what we got here. What else? Okay, did we talk about this, Max? Sorry, I've been a little behind here for a second.
No.
Chad with the $2 super chat confirmed a re-aggravation of the shoulder injury for Butler. So yeah.
Don't like that.
Well. John C. checking in $5. Vols are 1-6 since their team taunted Kentucky fans at Kroger Field. So there you go.
He's keeping track. He's keeping track. New trend.
Big Gator EJ, $1.99 on Super Chat. Never pick against us again, Max Barr. Never do it, Max. We'll get to that game shortly. Michael, $2 Super Chat. I don't think that's how it works, Michael. Trust me. We would try, but I don't think that's how it works. Can you do the kiss of death to keep Kentucky healthy? Yeah, I just don't think we have any control over that.
I don't know about that one.
We can control game outcomes, but we can't control the health of players.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
But anyways. All right. What else we got from this game, Max? Give us some other thoughts on this one.
Oh, EJ has my mind racing. No, I was just checking. I was going to Florida, Mississippi State. I don't know. I'm still for the first time this season, Blake. I'm kind of speechless at a game. I don't have I don't have analysis. I don't have reasoning. The team they defy the odds. How many times now have they been an underdog to a top 10 team? Everybody picks against them, and then they win. I'm not doing it again. You will not catch me. I'm not doing it again. I'm putting my foot down right now.
Do
I
it.
will not be in this position again this year. I will not do it. That's a pledge right there. They keep making me look bad. Cats.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's a question too. Like, are you concerned about Tennessee coming out of this?
No, because I think that Kentucky just plays the style that the high variance 3-point shooting teams recipe for disaster for Tennessee. But also they haven't been good away all year. I mean, we said that in the preview. That was nothing new. The 30-point loss to Florida, the Vandy loss. So I don't know. Not really. I think I should be overreacting more, but I'm not. What about you? It's the same issues. It's the offense. It's the same thing that we already knew.
I think it's kind of what we already knew, I feel like. And this was a tough game. Like, it's not like, again, we're not going to come out of this saying, boy, Tennessee just lost to whoever, right? I mean, it's Kentucky at home. And I think as people pointed out, too, and I'll pull up Pat's comment here. Oh, sorry.
It's the same thing, basically.
Yeah, I think it's that. And look, Pat said it. I know some other people have said it earlier. Skylar said it. Some other people talked about it. Like, it's just a matchup thing. I mean, sometimes there just is a team where, it's just kind of one of those things. So, I don't know, Anonymous, I don't think that's true. I don't think we're surprised. I think it's just, but I mean, again, like we've also seen, like we said, Kentucky lose at home to Arkansas, and we've seen them lose at Georgia, and like just games like that. But I think if you look at it from that standpoint, like I said, I think that does speak to the Tennessee aspect of it. Like this was a tough spot. Because I mean, we mentioned like it is where teams just rally and rally and rally, and we've seen this so many times. Kentucky's been one of those teams. Did it last time against Tennessee. So, yeah, but I think with Tennessee, it's the same story, right? It's just, are you going to trust them shooting wise still? And we've had that same question outside of Lanier. But when you go on the road in a game like this, where you're playing, like we said, statistically, a defensive team that you should be able to find some easy looks against, you're maybe going to, question that a little bit. But I will say, too, like, and I think they said it on the broadcast, like, Kentucky was playing some pretty good defense. Like, they were having some very, consistent possessions where, like, all right, good defensive possession here. Then come back down the next time, good defensive possession. It wasn't just kind of sporadic like we've seen at times. That they were really, I think, doing a lot of good things defensively. And we knew Mark Pope's game plan the first time around. He said, we're going to make Tennessee basically beat us with a jump shot. And, as long as you try to keep them out of the paint, I think it worked. So, yeah, again, I think it's good coaching, and just the execution of the game plan I thought was really good for Kentucky. So,
yeah, Kentucky's defensive efficiency on KenPom is up to 84th. What were they just like 2 weeks ago? They were like...
They're 111.
111 or so? Yeah. So, I mean, hey, this deep into the season, we're in the second week of February, and you're improving one of your efficiencies like 30 ranks within 1 or 2 weeks. That is hard to do. There's a lot of data into the system already. That's hard. You got to be really, really outperforming what the system's projecting. So, yeah, you're all the way up there at 84. Do they want to get back down to 111 to get to the Final Four formula?
to get to the Alabama second offense, 111 defense. Yeah, they're still working on the second offense. They're still there, but yeah, you got to play have a few bad possessions maybe to match Alabama from last year. But when we do talk about kind of the upcoming schedule, Tennessee comes back for the rematch against Vanderbilt. Again, trying to avoid back-to-back sweeps this week. Vols host Vanderbilt on Saturday. Then they get the week off. So Tennessee finally gets their week off before they go to A&M. So that's nice to have a week off before you go to the Aggies there. So not a bad spot for Tennessee. And we'll talk about Vanderbilt in a second. Kentucky back-to-back home wins, as we've said, against South Carolina and Tennessee now. They go to Texas on Saturday, who we're watching Texas right now, against Alabama. And then next Wednesday, Vanderbilt gets the home rematch against Vanderbilt. So that's your setup, Max, for those two teams.
Interesting. Tennessee has got, they've got a little bit of a tricky schedule there, where some tough ones on the road could look over Could look over, LSU and A&M, looking over to Alabama there to try to, get that big one at home. A little tricky. Some spots that could grab you. Have to watch out for those.
Mark asks here, how can you say we're not concerned about a team with a consistent score? I think, Mark, that is the concern we have. But I think our sort of response is that, are we more concerned coming out of this game? I don't think so, because the concerns we already had are the same. And I think that is one of the concerns, right? So that's how we're trying to phrase it. If we didn't phrase it that way, our apologies. But yeah, I think that is the concern. It's just, are we more concerned now than we were when we've seen this happen before the season? I don't know about that. I think it's just kind of the same story sometimes. So
I think the concern is the offense when the threes aren't falling. Like there's no consistency, because there are a lot of games where they're hitting 10, 11 threes. Like they're a pretty high volume team, but when they're not falling, it just becomes chaos and just a bunch of looking for something, just hoping someone gets hot, where I feel like other teams that are rated, what are they in KenPom? 5. Other teams that are rated around them, they got other ways to win, stuff like that. That's where the concern is, and I feel like that's been the concern probably going all the way back to January 7th after Florida.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we will, move here to, of course, we'll circle back around. Kentucky, Tennessee fans, continue to share your thoughts. As always, I know someone said earlier we're being biased towards Kentucky. Guys, if you think we're just excited. We love to talk about SEC basketball. We love fun storylines. We love all this stuff. So this was one of the most exciting trio of games, I think, to start a Tuesday night we've had all season. So we're excited. We're here to talk SEC basketball. And, as Bill said, I almost forgot, Kentucky fans, Tennessee fans, any other fan bases that are in here, we're about to get to your games. But how far do you have your teams going in the bracket right now? You can weigh in the chat. How far do you think that the Cats are going to go? How far do you think the Vols are going to go? We already know Sam's thoughts on that. How far? Because if you're going to fill out a bracket this March, there's only one way to do it, Max. Bracket bids.
The bids.
Just say the word bracket and add bids on the end of it, and you've got bracket bids. Where, as we continue to say, you can take your bracket experience to the next level with our friends at Bracket Bids. You can enter into that free pick'em contest or start an auction draft league with your friends, family, or coworkers. Everyone's family here. You can jump in on a draft league, whatever you want. Start one up yourself. Everyone starts with the same bidding dollars. Up to you to outwit and outbid your league mates to secure the teams you think will go the distance. Choose from multiple scoring models, including those upset bonuses to reward the bold picks. Track your teams with live in-game scoring and watch the standings shift in real time. The further they advance, the higher you climb the standings. That's how it works, folks. For league play, use that promo code SC16 for 40% off. SC16 for 40% off. Set up your league there today. Download the Bracket Bids app or visit them at bracketbids.com. All right. Max?
Very nice, very nice.
Let's get to the number one team in the country real quick. I know, Florida fans, don't worry. We'll get to you shortly. We got Malik and others in here ready to talk about the Gators. But let's quickly jump to the number one team in the country, Auburn. We said kind of a tricky spot potentially on the road against Vanderbilt. There were some tricky spots in the game for the Tigers, but they wind up winning at 80-68 Max in Memorial Gym. Initial thoughts on this game, which was kind of the Denver Jones and Chaney Johnson show there for a large portion of this game, although Broome did finish with 17-2. Jones finished with 21, Chaney Johnson with 20. Where's our guy, Gene? He's been all over the Chaney Johnson breakout season. But I thought a nice win for Auburn based on the fact that, look, Vanderbilt kind of made their run. Things got a little tricky there, but I think the shot selection got a little bit better for Auburn, and they wind up getting the win there.
Yeah, it tightened up the defense too there in the second half, but was a little bit tricky. But that's been happening to a lot of people that play at Vanderbilt this year. It's a tricky place to play, and Vanderbilt does a lot of things with their kind of their backcourt defense. You know, their active hands. It's tough to get easy passing lanes and drives where you're not having the ball raked and stuff like that. And so a little bit of an adjustment, but then the defense tightens up. Chaney Johnson does what Chaney Johnson does. But hey, the one thing that I love about this Auburn team, and I've been starting to say it more and more, is the 40% guards. Talking about the 3-point shooting with Jones, Kelly, Baker Mazara, and Pettiford. Not all of them are going to be on every night, but for all 4 of them to be shooting 40% and all be off on the same night, it's probably not going to happen. And tonight, Baker Mazara didn't get the start. He was banged up, was playing a little bit injured. He has his worst offensive night, I think, maybe ever at Auburn. Doesn't have a point. But Denver Jones, 5 of 7. He carries the weight in the first half and kind of keeps them in that thing from outside. And then the front court takes over in the second half. It's just, which guard is it going to be? Who knows? It's going to be one of them, probably more.
That's the common theme, too, when we talk about just kind of that resiliency factor with teams this season. It is having depth is important because, we've kind of talked about that, right? Like you said, a Baker Mazara comes out and doesn't score here. Are you going to expect that in a 28-minute game that he's just not going to score a point, right? Probably not, but it's just they have the depth, and we've mentioned just how many times that we've seen so many guys on this particular team step up this season and make big shots or have kind of these stretches where, again, you had a Chaney Johnson have it in this game. Jones hit some big baskets going 5 of 7. They finished 9 of 24 from 3. He goes up 5 of 7 on his own. Broome just kind of doing his thing. Thought he had some big ones where, I mentioned, I'm like, look, if Vanderbilt's going to have a chance in this game, I think you need a Jaylen Carey career-type performance. But, you had some of those just – Broome was just better in some of those one-on-one scenarios at times. And, yeah, I think it goes back to that with Auburn. Like, their depth, if they're going to win the national championship, I'm telling you, it's going to be because they have so many different guys. It's at key points. Like, right, Pettiford scores 9 in this game. But, I mean, he hits the 3, gets fouled, right, as the 4-point opportunity. Like, and so I think it's just like throughout the points of a different game, you just kind of have different guys who can step up, and that was kind of the story here. And we knew, like, this was one where you expected Auburn to come out early, be a little pissed off. They were. They got up, 15-0? Is that what it started off as? Vanderbilt kind of able to weather the storm a little bit. But, again, I think just to grind out a win like this, knowing what's ahead, we know it's number 1 versus number 2 on Saturday, whether Alabama wins tonight or not. It's number 1 versus number 2. But I think the shot selection got better. The defense got better in the second half, and I think that was the combination that helped them win the game. But, again, if you are going to pick something apart at times, maybe it is the shot selection. But I don't know. So.
Yeah, and I'm just nitpicking here. Hey, they won by 12 on the road at Vandy. Tough thing to do.
Right.
Right. So, like, this is already acknowledging all of the great things that you have to do to be able to do that. And now we're going to the nitpicking and trying to pick apart stuff. Right. They got out-rebounded.
Yeah.
By Vandy. And that happened against South Carolina. That's why South Carolina was in that game the way they were, was because of the second chance points and what Murray Boyles and Pringle were doing. So that's a little bit of a trend now. Not a trend or something, but I would like the Auburn front court to, rather than just more like, we're going to score more points than you and we're going to win because we have the best offense in the country. More like we're going to do that, but we're also going to shut you down. And it's tough, but I'm nitpicking. So do with that what you
as Anita says too, I think this was like there were a lot of Auburn fans in that building, and I've always talked about like there are a lot of Auburn fans in Nashville, and so anytime you're the number 1 team in the country, you're going to travel well. But yeah, there were a lot of Auburn fans in the building there, but for sure that always helps a little bit. But yeah, so I mean, like we said, Auburn goes and wins at a place where Vanderbilt has beaten Tennessee, they've beaten Kentucky. Like we mentioned, they've got a lot of good wins there, and it did feel like if you're defining trap games, this felt like the ultimate trap game. But I think the difference was that Auburn losing that game on Saturday against Florida made a little less of a trap game because you knew this team would come out with something to prove. But yeah, I think that's kind of kind of where we are when we look at kind of the Tigers. Like you said, we're really trying to nitpick a little bit here with this team. But and two, I think, we always ask for the other side of this. Does our opinion change on Vanderbilt all that much coming out of this? I mean, they went 3 of 17 from three, and I think that's where Auburn kind of turning up the defense mattered. But they haven't been a great three-point shooting team, and I think that's something where maybe early in the season we thought that would be a little bit better, Max, from a statistical standpoint for Vanderbilt. But what are they shooting? I think it's, what are they shooting now? 32% or something like that from three. And so I think, you kind of see some of those numbers in SEC play, whether it's a game like this where you shoot, 18%, 27% against Oklahoma, 32% against Florida, 33% against Texas. So, 19% against South Carolina, 19% against Mississippi State. So I think that's kind of one of those things too. When it's a team that doesn't have a ton of size, it'd be nice for that percentage to be a little bit higher. But I think Vanderbilt's still a team, though, with just the way they play, their style, they're going to give certain teams fits. We just didn't think Auburn was the kind of matchup where they were going to give Auburn fits, but they are going to give certain teams, based on the matchup, problems, and we've already seen that this season. So,
coming into the game, Lenardi had Vanderbilt as the final team of the last four byes, right before the last four in. So I don't know if losing to Auburn is really going to penalize you that much, but a loss is a loss on the bubble, excuse me. And right now, I think I said it earlier when we were talking about like the 2 seeds with Houston and stuff. It's literally game to game. Each game, you're jumping and you're moving back. And Vandy, you drop a game, maybe they're in the last 4 in. Next update. It's crunch time, Blake. It is.
Yeah.
For a while, the whole season, we've been saying there's a lot of basketball left. There's a lot of basketball left. It's finally gotten to that time where it's like, all right, we got a few weeks left. Like, you need a few wins. You're going to have a few more opportunities. That's it. We're here.
Well, and here is the problem, as usual, when we talk about Vanderbilt, and we're about to get to Florida, Mississippi State in a second, and there may be a team there we're going to talk about that's having some issues right now, and it's not the Gators. Vanderbilt now, 3 of their next 4 on the road, and these are the 3 road games: at Tennessee, at Kentucky, at Texas A&M. Whew. Home against Ole Miss is sandwiched in between there, a team that I think matchup-wise is not a great matchup for Vanderbilt, to be honest with you. And then you finish the season.
Like a clone.
Yeah. And then you finish the season at home against Missouri, Arkansas, and then go on the road against Georgia, which, by the way, Georgia's up 9 right now with 4 minutes to go on the road in A&M. So yeah, like you said, it's crunch time. They got to start winning games. And I think that's kind of where we are now with teams like that. We mentioned Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Georgia, and maybe Georgia does it tonight. Georgia wins tonight. Guess what? They're moving off that last 4 in, and they're probably, moving up 5 or 6 spots. But like, we're going to play this ping pong game with those teams in particular, I think, down the stretch, and Arkansas is in there too now. But yeah, like it's kind of where we are with these teams. So like the SEC's number of how many teams are going to get in, the fact that some of those teams are going to play against each other, some of those teams are going to get the benefit of that. But you're going to have a couple of those teams, I think, they're going to get pushed out of the equation. So there you go.
Well, Georgia was down a starter, and then later they realized maybe that wasn't enough, and so they're down a 6-man also. So now Georgia's going to win probably, down that much production. So we did have an interesting comment here. Let me sports
sorry,
recaps.
We got a lot of comments, and I know.
I'm sorry. We gotta go back.
You guys are great. We just, like we said, leave a super chat, and we'll see it better, but sometimes we don't.
Condon, right ankle sprain. X-rays were negative.
Okay.
We were a little bit worried. Blake and I were texting when he went down. Oh no.
Well, I think those sprains though. No, it was brutal. Like I said, when I saw it, I'm like, oh no, please don't let them lose another big man. Yeah. So, and I think that's sometimes, what do they say? It's like, some people are like, well, it's better to break the ankle than sprain it.
Yeah.
But I'm not a doctor here. I'm not going to diagnose what I think the time frame will be. Some of you guys may have said it. The league's saying 2 weeks. So, yeah.
That's March.
Yeah, and I think that's where, and we can transition to Florida. And we'll get back to some of your super chats. I know some people have left them, but we'll get back to them shortly. So, but let's talk about Florida real quick, and then we'll finish up with all the chat stuff. So let's see here with the Gators, and I think again that's where they built up enough good work now to where if you're missing a Condon for a couple weeks, let's say. I mean, Florida's now 21-3 after an 81-68 win at Mississippi State. And honestly, Max, we talk about scheduling, and I'll go ahead and do this up front. Their next 2 games, home against South Carolina, home against Oklahoma. They'll be double-digit favorites in both those games. At LSU, They'll probably be a double-digit favorite there too. At Georgia, a team that they have already beaten by 30 this season. That's their next 4 games. So, when we talk about this SEC title race, that game on Saturday, I'm telling you, somebody's going to lose between Auburn and Alabama. But the Gators right now are sitting in such a good spot. And again, we'll see how the Condon injury factors into that. But I mean, we've seen them. They go win this game tonight. Complete domination at times, Mississippi State. And there's no Elijah Martin. We said it. Look at what this team has now done in back-to-back games. Bet the bad news. That's where we are. With the Gators, just what a performance. Our guy, we said, is this going to be a Tommy H game again? Max, please read Tommy H's stat line.
Tommy H, our guy, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists.
Wow.
Making everybody around him better. He's not selfish. He'll take the 16 points, the 9 boards. He'll take them, but he'll also give out 8 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals. Only 3 turnovers. Tommy H with a game. Tommy H with a game.
It was indeed a Tommy H game. Tommy Haugh has had just some tremendous performances, and that's what we keep saying, talking about guys stepping up. Back-to-back games now, 16 points. We said it, 9 rebounds in that game against Auburn. Just what a performance. And I think that goes back to the front court rotation we talked about, Max, just having these different guys step up this season, being impressed by this Florida team. But again, you talk about the guard group too, right? Max, I know you're going to bring this up. Yet again, Mississippi State, the 3-point percentage allowed. How has this happened this season? If we read these numbers off now, okay, just let's try to keep track again here, because if we look at the Mississippi State defensive performance in some of these games that they've lost from 3. I'm just going to keep reading it because I think this is just such a wild trend here. 12 of 22 from Butler, 16 of 32 Kentucky for 50%, 10 of 24 Auburn for 42%, 10 of 28 Tennessee for 36%, 15 of 31 Alabama for 48%, 15 of 32 Missouri for 47%, 14 of 36 Florida for 39%. The last 3 were at home. And Kentucky, hit 16 of 32 against them. That is nuts, man.
I mean, the thing is, it's not just teams are just they're the unluckiest team ever. I mean, they're wide open. Pump fake, fly by, step in, could take 5 seconds to shoot the 3. I think it's just a matter of, the team is so much different than last year with the way that they would do the way they would defend on the perimeter with Shaq Moore, Rams Davis, and Jeffries. So it's just way different. They're letting a lot of penetration into the lane, and then they help, and there's a kick out every time. And it's just a wide open 3. I don't know the exact. I mean, they got to know it's an issue. They got to, be trying to fix it, but it's just nothing. Nothing's working. And Tommy Haugh, I thought could have taken 12 threes tonight. They gave him so many. They were just, I'm like, get up into that. What are we doing here? I was watching the game. I was like, they are just letting him get whatever they want. There was no pressure outside on the perimeter. If Florida won this game with like 6 guys and just destroyed, that's back-to-back now. I haven't seen anything like this. When's the last time you've seen back-to-back games at the hump where it's not even been competitive? I mean,
well, yeah, I know Eli said earlier he is officially hitting the panic button here, and I don't think he's wrong about that. And that's what I said. Like, I think the uninspired basketball, like 2 of the last 3 games, that's where the margin is more so way more the story here than it is just the losing. And yeah, like if this is going to be a team that's going to win multiple games in March, which we thought, I think weeks ago, we're talking about this team has the resume of a 2 seed, right? But like that's what the SEC can do to some teams. It can break them, and we said it was going to happen to somebody this year. Like Mississippi State, unfortunately, is kind of in that spot now. They're 5-6, which is not not a terrible place to be, but it's just the performances, the way they're playing. And I mean, think about this, right? Like it's like, man, what if they lose that Georgia game? What if they lose 76-75? They won, and that's good, but man, it's just kind of these home games. I mean, that's just not something like you said we expect from this team, who have now lost 4 home games in SEC play. Wild.
Well, look at their last 3 wins. 1-point win against Georgia, overtime against South Carolina, overtime against Ole Miss. That's a lot of what ifs to have to happen in 3 games if we want to play the hypothetical of them losing all of them. But so I'm not even going to go there. It's just, man, it's not like it's, last year there were some teams that would lose a game, and it's like they're losing everyone by 1 point. This team is not that bad. Past 2 home games for Mississippi State, I don't have anything to back them up with.
Florida is now 3rd in the nation in offensive efficiency, 8th in the nation in defensive efficiency. And they officially qualify if you're looking for the national championship criteria. The Gators are easily there right now. And yeah, like that's, I mean, again, the SEC has the top 3 teams in the country in the AP poll. I don't think there's anything to argue that. I mean, whether it's the AP poll or any poll you put in, I think those are the 3 best teams in the country in Auburn, Alabama, and Florida right now. And so, again, that just kind of shows you the strength of the league. Now, we said A&M was pushing for a number 1 seed. Well, they're about to be down 9 at halftime to Georgia at home. Not ideal. Alabama up 9 right now on the road at Texas down the stretch in the first half. So, yeah, that's kind of I just don't think you say enough good things about the Gators right now. I mean, they are, since that laying an egg at Tennessee, where they score 44 points going up against a shorthanded Tennessee. We've talked about that. Good bounce-back performance against Vanderbilt. They win at Auburn, and then they go win at Mississippi State. That's just, and like I said, their upcoming schedule is as good as anybody's, maybe in the SEC all season, based on just the way it sets up. This 4-game stretch they have coming up. So,
Walter Clayton has moved to number 8 in Ken Palm's Player of the Year rankings. His past 2 games. Last game against Auburn, 9 assists, which was either like a career high, a Florida high. It was some sort of high for Walter Clayton. And then tonight, 6 assists, 1 turnover. He's turning into a really, really efficient creator as well. How about Denzel Aberdeen? Are you kidding me? We haven't said Denzel Aberdeen once. We're at minute 43 of this live stream. EJ, come yell at me, right? Yeah, I just looked to the chat to see if EJ was yelling at me for something. Oh my gosh, Denzel Aberdeen, you got to credit the Florida Basketball Hour there. They were telling us last year, this guy Denzel, the staff believes in him, and now he's high scorer on the road.
We kind of adopted Denzel Aberdeen and Tommy Haugh as our guys at the SEC tournament last year. We were both just like, you know what? These are our guys moving forward. They're on our all-guy team, Like, Max and I, we were like, those are our dudes right there. So, yeah, just,
and Tommy didn't play much last year, and he did a few minutes.
We were like, love him. That's our guy, man. That's our guy. Yeah, so, but, man, he stepped up big in these past 2 games, 2 huge wins for Florida. And, yeah, so there we are. All right, we're going to catch up on some Super Chats. All right, we're gonna have to implement a rule tonight. We're gonna just thank you for your super chats, so we don't incite the arguments in the chat. We're just gonna thank some of you guys. We appreciate you, Grayson, for the $1.99 super chat. Thanks to Cats. We'll go to the Elite Eight. We will leave out the second part, not to incite any arguments. We appreciate Josh. We appreciate the $20 super chat. I know Josh is, I plenty to say. Josh, noted Tennessee fan. We appreciate Josh, as always, jumping in. Win or lose, Josh is always jumping in. We appreciate that. This one here, $5 super chat. Steven. Yeah, how about Perry and Noah? We said earlier, what a duo. Those guys, maybe we're going to have to put them on our team too now, Max. Like, we got Haugh,
Noah's
Aberdeen,
there, 100%.
Perry, and Noah. Yeah, how about that? Our scholarship spots are filling up quick with our team here. But, yes, they were fantastic, Stephen, as we talked about. Yeah, they were a big part of this. And like we said, somebody always stepping up. That's been the theme. John with a $1.99 super chat saying that the Wildcats healthy are a top 5 team. They look like it when they're at full strength, don't they? I mean, they win a lot of big games. And even when they're not, they win a lot of big games. So there's that. Big Gator EJ, $1.99. Denzel. Can't call him, got nothing on him. There you go.
How can you not like some Denzel Aberdeen?
How about that? Shout out to Carter. Earlier, $5 super chat. Out of the top 14 teams in the SEC standings, which teams are you concerned won't have enough wins to make the NCAA tournament? Well, I think it does go back to that group of teams. Let's see.
Vandy?
I mean, I think it's pretty. It's that group, right? Vandy, Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma.
Texas.
I mean, Arkansas is obviously in there, but
it's that bubble group.
Look, if Georgia wins tonight, they're certainly trending in the right direction. I am concerned about Vanderbilt now. I'll say, like, just based on their schedule, I'm concerned because they have the toughest remaining schedule of that group of teams. I think we always talk about the Torvik percentages, but I'm a little worried about them now.
Let's see if Bart is still worried. Bart commented on one of my tweets the other day, by the way. I was like, hey, I talk about you like every day.
Josh, settle down now. Josh said, read it, you coward. Don't worry, Josh. The people saw it. They saw it. What's Bart
68%. So that's down. That's definitely down from what he was about a week ago.
Still, that may be high in my opinion.
I think it's high. No, I think it's high too, but
I know. Yeah, we'll see. I will say that I think Vanderbilt's the team I'm most concerned about based on their remaining schedule. I think Texas will get there. Oklahoma, maybe. That's just. I think we're at the point now, Max. We're like, yes, we're at the stretch run, but like there are still a lot of games left. And don't forget, like the SEC tournament, we say that it's probably not going to mean a lot, but for those kind of teams, it will mean something, especially this year. Because think about it, those kind of SEC teams, whether it's Vanderbilt, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, Arkansas, they're going to be playing the type of games that the ACC teams, the other teams are not going to be playing. And I think we have to remember that. So think about this, Max. Let's see if you're in the how does the setup work? 9 versus 16, 10 versus 15, 11,
I was
14,
just trying
12,
to
13.
figure that out.
That's right. Okay. So just think about this. Let's say one of those teams is in like the, I don't know, 12-13 game. If you're the 13, the win over the 12 or like vice versa could still be like a quad 1 win. So there's no teams that are playing on that Wednesday in their conference tournaments are going to be playing those kind of things, right? So that's all. So there's still plenty of opportunity. I'm not panicked about anybody necessarily, but I'm a little worried about Vanderbilt the most based on their schedule.
And I could see if like you grab like a Oklahoma, Georgia, Texas, Arkansas, Vandy, they grab one at the SEC tournament, they still get left out or something like that, even when we thought maybe that one was what they needed. But you grab 2. No. You know, you're on the bubble, you'll grab 2.
You're fine.
You just played yourself in.
Just became an 8 seed at that point.
You just got penciled into my Elite Eight.
I mean, think about it. You look at the teams that are around it. We're talking about a lot of ACC teams. And if you're telling me that the ACC teams in their tournament are going to do better work than the SEC teams in theirs, it's just simply not true. So that's where some of these SEC teams are going to have the benefit, is if they're lacking wins heading into the conference tournament, this is a year where I think it will matter, because you're going to have probably 3 or 4 teams that are on that bubble range who basically are going to play each other and still have a chance. So, yeah. Anyways. All right. Let's see what else we can get to. We appreciate that, Carter. Again, we appreciate all the super chats from you guys. By the way, Summit Cola, a.k.a. Maxwell, said earlier, started drinking the Summit Cola. 1 week later, has an identical mustache. How about that? Little did you know, if you drink Diet Summit Cola, which somebody's got to find us the founder of Diet Summit Cola.
I'll wear a shirt or hat. I'll
we got to get them as a sponsor. Are you kidding me? So, yeah, I think that's what's going to be interesting, to see if we can get that sponsorship. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Max noted wrestling talk. Of course, we always have to get that in. Max, do you know it could be Charlotte versus Rhea at WrestleMania 41? Are you excited about that?
Who do you got?
I don't think it's going to be Charlotte versus Rhea. I think it's going to be Charlotte versus Tiffany, Max. So, therefore, I don't know if I agree with that. It's her _ whatever that was. So, I'm just saying. All right. Jackson wants to know quickly, does Georgia do it? You don't want us to say yes, because you know what that means in the second half, Jackson. So, I'm just going to say I don't know if Georgia's going to pull this off. So, we'll see.
Well, it would probably confirm that the SEC gets another team in, so let's root for it.
I'd be okay with it, because Georgia would have a significant win on their resume. You know who else has a lot of significant wins on their resume, Max Barr?
I have an idea.
You know, some may say this is the top overall seed when it comes to logistical services. Top overall seed running. I don't think the NCAA tournament we've ever had a number 1 overall seed be number 1 for 153 straight years. But Max, you know what? Sanders Logistics, 153 straight years they've been the number 1 overall seed. I don't know if they've been around for 153 straight years, but you know what? The way they work, it basically is 153 straight years.
Feels like
you know what I mean? That they do so much work. It's basically that many years worth of work when it comes to their moving services. So, Sanders Logistics, as you know, your friends and mine, formerly known as Ted R. Sanders Moving, a leader among moving companies in Nashville, Tennessee, and the surrounding area. Their team, professional movers, focused on delivering efficient, hassle-free moving at an affordable price. They've been doing it for years and years and years, as we've said. In fact, since this stream started 52 minutes ago, let me just make sure I got my data right here. Yeah. Max, they've moved 274 people in this 52 minutes here. That's what I don't know if it's true. It's coming from Twitter, so it's got to be true. But that's what I hear. So these guys are just always on the move. Efficient, hassle-free. Whether you're moving across town or across the country, Sanders Logistics has you covered. I think they just moved someone from North Carolina to California in a span of 8 minutes, Max. Again, can't confirm the times, but that's what Twitter's saying. So that's how efficient they are. Visit them at TedRSandersMoving.com.
That was one of the better ones.
You know, it's all about the numbers, and sometimes the numbers don't lie, right? So, Kentucky fans talking about the numbers, how many quad 1 wins they got now, top 5 wins, top 25 wins, lots of wins. So, going on, Florida, Auburn.
Just quick reset here. Alabama, I just blinked, changed the tab for a second, went back to check the score, and it's 49-31. What the heck just happened?
They're not looking ahead to Saturday. Yeah, they're not looking ahead.
All right, I guess there's that.
Folks, we'll see. I'm not going to jinx it, because we know, my God, anything I say, I jinx everything. But it's looking like number 1 versus number 2, but not just in numbers, but like these two teams going in perhaps with wins on Saturday. We'll see. But what an atmosphere that's going to be. By the way, in case you didn't hear, that is our watch along for Saturday.
Yes.
no surprise probably. We are going to do the watch along. Alabama-Auburn on Saturday in Tuscaloosa. Number 1 versus number 2. So if you want to join the It Just Means More tier, Southeastern 16, remember, hit that join button. You guys can join the channel. And, $3.99 a month. Remember, you're joining to get the watch along, some members-only content, but you're also just supporting the channel. If you guys want us to keep doing these streams, your support helps us do that. So, again, we appreciate but, here's what I like, okay? I like somebody being honest. Spencer's like, you know what? I will not be in the chat if we lose on Saturday. Just be honest about it. You don't have to show up. It's okay. We appreciate those that do, but listen, I get it. The chat, probably not the place for you if your team loses on Saturday. So, nonetheless.
I'm excited for that game. I know we still got 3 games tomorrow, but I might watch along game day. I might be making breakfast on here, just watching game day. So excited.
If you guys want to watch Max Barr make breakfast live on a live stream for members only, give us a thumbs up in the chat. Or just throw some eggs on there, some bacon, some toast, some pancakes, whatever emojis there are. They're all over the place. So, yeah, that's how it works. All right, 2-minute warning, and then we're out of here. If you want to bring up anything else, any questions, any comments, send them our way. We're going to hop off again, as usual. Yeah, Sam. Max Barr making breakfast and pounding Summit Colas, 9 a.m. So
was that this morning or yesterday morning?
I don't know, man. It's every day in your world. So, yeah, every day. But okay, if you just joined us, you missed 56 minutes. You're probably not gonna get much out of the stream right now, but you go back and watch the replay, of course. Tomorrow morning, we will recap Alabama, Texas, Georgia, Texas A&M. Tomorrow morning on the show, we'll do that. Starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow, by the way. 9 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. Okay. We got some great comments coming in.
We got a great one, yeah.
We got a couple great ones here. Okay, $10 super chat from Zach. As an Auburn fan, I will say that Alabama's playing some of the best basketball in the country right now. Auburn need to be perfect to beat them. He's concerned. Well, yeah, it's not going to be easy. So
Zach has a really good grasp on his team. Zach and I talk outside the stream also. He's got a good grasp. He's got a good gut on the Tigers. So I might take that into consideration. Writing that down, Zach.
Max is writing it down. Max is a pencil type guy. Yeah. Shout out to James. Going to watch this on the way to work tomorrow. Appreciate you, James. Let's see. A couple other things. Brian wants to know, how can a guy get free tickets to the SEC Championship game on here? Well, Brian, I wish I could tell you. I have no idea. But I don't know. Maybe there's a certain tier we could charge for that, but I doubt it. All right. Donovan, by the way, I did consider this. I have thought about, can we get like a live stream just only on the Alabama-Auburn? Can we get a little preview going? I've entertained the idea with a couple guests. I haven't told Max this yet, but we may try to do something, a special Friday edition of the show. Usually we take Friday mornings off in terms of the live streams. We still have our videos going up, but we'll let you know on that.
It's a special week.
It is special. Big Baller Brett, I did see your comment about how you're going to be in the crowd on Saturday in Tuscaloosa with a shirt with my face on it. That's great. Holly, the next live stream tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. We'll be doing a recap of the other 2 games tonight. We'll talk more about Kentucky, Tennessee, also all these other games, Auburn, Vanderbilt. As usual, we'll be talking about all of it. Anyone think we're going to do Southeastern 16 Kiss of Death for Auburn, Alabama? Do you think we're all going to pick the same? I don't. I think we're all going to pick different on that one. We'll see.
I have no clue where I'm going with that game.
Me either. No clue. Big Baller Brat, 199 Super Chat. Let's see if we can keep a lead. Yeah, I think you're okay right now, Big Baller Brat, but we'll see. All right. Got to get back to the important one here from Skylar. McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King? I wasn't going to forget this one because this is a serious question. Chat, weigh in. Which of these 3 are you choosing? Max, you go first as always when we do any sort of thing revolving around questions or picks. I think it's an easy answer for me.
Oh, easy answer. Easy answer. Yeah, I'm a McDonald's guy through and through. I'm a McDonald's guy.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a McDonald's guy. My first job was McDonald's. My dad actually loves McDonald's so much that he would trick my mom into getting McDonald's by saying like, "Hey, can we like grab like that new Irish spot on the corner on the way home?" And it would just be the McDonald's. But yeah, McDonald's guy.
I didn't know which one you were going to pick, but for me, there's not even a debate here. Not even a single debate. I don't care what you say, Max. I don't care what the chat says. It's Wendy's.
I'm a McDonald's
Wendy's is the Sanders logistics of fast food. Efficient, hassle-free. Now, it depends on what time you go. Sometimes you get a little more hassle. And it's not always free. Most of the time, it's not free. You have to pay. But I think Wendy's is the only choice here in this scenario.
What at Wendy's though? What is it?
Anything. You can give me the nugget. You can give me the junior bacon cheeseburger. You can give me the Baconator. You can give me the spicy chicken sandwich. You can give me some fries. You can give me some chili, a side salad. Anything, man. Come on.
I love a quarter pounder.
I do too.
Might feel like I just ate a triple pounder after, but we'll worry about that.
We can all agree that Burger King is a distant third in this category.
Yes.
Though.
Yes.
So, all right.
Yes.
McDonald's is better for breakfast. I will say that, but overall, give me Wendy's. So.
You're a Chick-fil-A family, aren't you?
Yeah, that too. But I like Wendy's more than I like Chick-fil-A. Not gonna lie to you. Like I think Wendy's is the Sanders logistics of the bracket bids, one would say, of fast food. So, yeah. By the way, hold on a second, Jordan. Don't do that. Don't do that, Jordan. Jordan says he's ready to jump out the window as a Tennessee fan. Don't do it, Jordan. Jordan, go back and watch. We said we weren't more concerned after this game than we already were. It's kind of the same story, but don't do that. Don't do that, Jordan. Don't do it. All right. $2 super chat from Zach. Burger King needs to be shut down. This is what happens here when we go live on a Tuesday night. You got all these great games, and we're over here talking fast food. Who do we blame for this? Who started this? Oh, it was Skyler, wasn't it?
Yep.
All right. I'm getting a little hungry. All right, guys, we're out of here. We appreciate you. Always a fun time in the chat, as we said. Kentucky, Auburn, Florida, all earned big wins, and more to come potentially. Alabama, Texas, and as we said, Texas A&M and Georgia. We'll talk about that tomorrow morning here on the show. If you tune in for the first time, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button on your way out. Don't forget to do that. That helps out the channel. Turn on those notifications so you know when we go live. But yeah, tomorrow morning, we'll talk about these other games, more thoughts on everything else. Again, we appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Southeastern 16.